Cecil Edward Roberts, Jr. is a sixth-generation coal miner and has been president of the United Mine Workers of America since 1995. He began working in the mines in 1971, served as vice president from 1982 to 1995, and is the first president in the history of the mine workers to serve 3 consecutive terms.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, not only for this hearing today, but for your continued fight on behalf of working class people, particularly last year when you became such a strong voice for protection of miners. And I also want to thank the entire committee for the Miner Act last year. It is true we supported that because it was a good first step in the direction of protecting the nation's coal miners. I was going to mention Mrs. Riggs and Mrs. Blevins myself. I've known them very well since 2001. And this is David Blevins in front of me. He has become my friend, even though I didn't know him when he was alive. Junior Hamner has become my friend, and we've made both of these men honorary members of United Mine Workers in their death. And I've had the opportunity to work also with Mrs. Riggs, and she's been a strong supporter of mine health and safety. I want to thank the coal miners who are here today. They traveled from West Virginia and they traveled from Pennsylvania because they too are interested in protecting themselves and seeing that they can come home every day to their loved ones. I'm reminded of what John L. Lewis, a great president of mine workers, once said in about 1952 before a similar hearing. After a horrific explosion in Illinois that killed over 100 miners, and they asked each participant to introduce themselves, and he didn't say he was the president of the mine workers. He just said, "My name's John Lewis, and I represent those miners who are still alive." So today, as all of us gather here, whether we're members of Congress or members of the union or families grieving and fighting for better laws or coal miners who made their way here today, that's our charge. How can we protect the nation's coal miners? And many have said that we've been highly critical of this industry and highly critical of MSHA, and that's very true. But I want to say on the record, there are many fine men and women at MSHA who work every day fighting to protect coal miners and their lives and making things better and safer. There are many industry representatives and many coal companies that do the right thing. What we're speaking to is how we make things better for everybody. And that should be the charge of Congress, and that should be the charge of the union. That should be everyone's main concern. I would hope and I would pray that no one in this room thinks it's all right for any coal miner, whether they're working in a small mine in eastern Kentucky or at the Sago mine in northern West Virginia or any other miner, to go to work today and not know if they have the full protection and support of their government, to come home safely to their families. In the United States of America, it should be something you could expect to do. You should not fear that you can't go to work, make a day's earnings for your family, and come home without your family thinking that maybe you won't come home. And we join with all the families today in this hearing. But let me just say to you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I invite you, all of you, to look at what Congress did in 1969. And I would remind this panel that Congress determined in 1969 what? That this industry was incapable of policing itself. Congress has made that determination. You don't have to make it. It's been made many years for you. Unfortunately, it took a long time for Congress to come to grips with that. Why did they come to grips with that? Well, the nation watched a mine explode in northern West Virginia in 1968 that killed 78 coal miners, and the nation was appalled. Whether they were sitting in their living rooms in California or in New York City or Chicago or in the coal fields of West Virginia, they were appalled and said, this Congress has to do something. Our government has to do more to protect the nation's coal miners. And they passed the 1969 Coal Mine Health and Safety Act, and then in 1977, they passed another act that strengthened the 1969 Act. And I would submit to you that you cannot look at what's going on in this industry today and come without coming to this conclusion. The intent of Congress that was written into the law has not been the law at the coal mines itself. And you say, well, what are you talking about? I would submit to you that Congress said that you cannot ventilate the face with Bel Air. We do that every day in this nation's coal mines. And how do we do that, and who gave them the authority? MSHA took from Congress what they had written in the law and changed it. So today we ventilate the face with Bel Air. If you look at the law, it says that you have to build seals that are explosion-proof. Today, you can go and kick in most of the seals in the United States are made out of Omega blocks, and they are not explosion-proof. So I would submit to Congress, you have a governmental agency that over the years has decided they do not have to do what you told them to do. You need oversight of this agency in the worst way. And I'm not speaking to the many fine men and women who go out in these mines every day and the professionals who have been there for many, many years. I'm talking about the people who make the policies that these coal miners, like Chuck Nizel and others, have to be governed by day in and day out. Petitions for modifications to change the intent of Congress. In 1969, we knew, Congress knew, and directed the government agency in charge of mine health and safety then to come up with systems to put chambers in the coal mines. Now, I submit to this body today, it's been a little while since 1969, and here we are today saying, gee, this is a good idea. I wonder if MSHA can really get this done for us. You must put time restraints and bring MSHA in here periodically to say, what kind of progress are you making here? If we can do these things in West Virginia, and we can do these things in Illinois, we have to require these in every underground coal mine in the United States of America, Mr. Chairman. That's not an expensive venture. That's not an outrageous demand. I submitted in our report that at SAGO that these men should be allowed today regardless of the ignition source that caused that explosion. And I believe that then, and I believe that today, and we've attached that to our report. We'd be glad to answer any question from any member of Congress, anytime or any place, or for that matter, anyone from MSHA with respect to the positions that we have taken. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.